Hello and welcome to the 2026 GTOAA Nationals here in beautiful Loveland, Colorado. My name is Alana Dow. I'm the original owners coordinator for the GTOAA. I am here with one of those original owners. This is Jim. This is his 1966 Burgundy GTO. Original owner certification means that this individual here, along with the other 143 inductees that we have with the GTOAA, have purchased their vehicle new right off the dealership and have owned it continuously until, as we sit here present day, maintain continuous ownership. So I often kind of want to know, first question is, what led you to buy a GTO in the first place?
Well, my story starts quite a long time before that, and my dad bought a brand new Chrysler in 1956. Nice car. I really enjoyed that car, and I just decided I wanted a new car when I was able to get one. And so I literally started saving my money at that point. My dad owned a bunch of ice cream shops, much like Baskin Robbins in the central Massachusetts area. And I used to go with him on Saturdays and pick up all the bottles that syrups came in, store them, and take them to the cider mill and sell them for 5 cents a piece. We made pretty good money over the next 4 or 5 years, and that's where a lot of the money came from for this car. And so when I turned 16, I bought the Chrysler and drove that for a couple of years. And then as I approached 18, you couldn't own a car before you were 18.
Okay.
Because it was your parents' car, it's not
Okay.
yours. And when I turned 18, I wanted a car. And so I started looking. I had money to, buy the car. And my dad took me to a Chrysler dealer because that's what he always bought. Uh, didn't fit. I didn't care that much for the car.
You were ready to upset the apple cart on the Chrysler train.
Yeah, and my cousin's father had bought the twin cousins a GTO, and I kind of liked that. So I went by the dealership, and there was a nice yellow 65 sitting out front. And so I went and got my dad and came back to the dealership. So that's kind of how it started. I really wasn't a Pontiac fan by any means.
But you knew you weren't a Chrysler fan.
Yeah, but the Plymouths were square.
Okay.
And it was a nice car, and also more money than I wanted to spend. So anyways, that's where it started.
So this is 66, built in June, so it's a later built 66.
A very late, yes.
Okay.
When I went, we looked at the 65. It turns out it was the owner's wife's car. It had every option available in 65, and it was way more money than I wanted to spend, even though it was a year old. The salesman or sales manager, I think he was, said, well, I can put you in a new one if you're not interested in a highly optioned car. And so we went in and sat down. Couldn't order one because it was too late, but he had several cars coming in on stock order, I guess they call it.
Okay.
And that he could adjust and manipulate and to what I wanted. So we sat down and went through the order sheet and that, and decided what I wanted. I wanted a 4-speed, positive traction, a radio, the rally cluster, rally suspension, quick steering, and a radio, and that's about it.
Were you able to get all those options then, Jim?
Yeah, it worked out. But it was $3,408. I said, oh, rats, because I only had 3,000.
How far off was it from that 65?
Several hundred,
Okay.
$600 or $800 or something like that. I don't exactly remember. But he said, no problem, $29.25 and $75 tax and license, and it was mine.
It was yours.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. Any stories of getting into any trouble in the car?
No, but I might add one story about before I got the car. I went and told Mr. Welcome, my instructor at the technical college I was going to, about the car. And I was kind of excited, obviously, about it coming. And 2 days or 3 days later, he came into the class and said, we're all going to the GM assembly plant, because the car was built in Framingham, Massachusetts, about 25 miles from where I lived and where the dealership was. So he said the whole class is going and we're going to watch Jim's car being built.
You saw your car being built?
Yep.
I don't think anybody can say that at all.
So we on the day that it was being built, and I don't remember exactly what day.
Sure.
But we all carpooled down there, and the dealer came with us, the sales manager and stuff. And we walked down. I remember walking down this long hallway and out into the assembly floor, and there was a Chevy there coming down the assembly line, and then there was a Buick, and I thought, I'm in the wrong place. But it turned out it was the Framingham assembly plant did all A bodies.
Okay.
So they were all the same body style, Chevelles and Buicks and Oldsmobiles, and that were built there. And so we were there for a bit. And then I saw the GTO came down, the frame come in from one side off to this side, and the body came in like this. Had the motor in it and the drive line already, and the axles on it, but it was on a carriage. And the body came down, and they assembled it, and then we followed it the rest of the way to the assembly line to final assembly.
Was it love at first sight, although it was in pieces?
It was cool, yeah.
That would be so cool to see.
That was a cool experience. The dealer took the car from the end of the assembly line and drove it back to Massachusetts, back to Worcester, Massachusetts, where the dealership was, and rather than have it shipped, they had to go on a truck and do all the stuff, and it would take several weeks for it to get there from the factory. So he took it and brought it to
25 miles.
Yeah, 25 miles back to the dealership. But the problem was the paperwork didn't go with it. I had to wait 2 or 3 weeks, about 3 weeks, I guess, for the paperwork to catch up.
Where was the car during this time?
In the back lot at the dealership. So I visited it every day. And then when paperwork come in, and that was on the 18th of July, which is what, 7 days from now.
Anniversary coming up.
60 years. That I got the car.
That's amazing. So. And in those 60 years, Jim, did you ever think of selling it?
Nope.
Not once?
Not at all. No,
that was quick. Quick response.
I was gonna keep it forever. It was just what I wanted. It fit me and that. So.
Mm-hmm. It still fits you.
Oh,
still fits you very well.
Thank you. So you asked about. What did you ask about? Things that happened in the car?
Yeah, any troubles?
Well, I guess should I tell about the ticket?
I want to hear it.
The car's had one ticket in its life that I know about.
What'd you do?
It wasn't me.
Uh-oh.
My father passed away in 2002. Was it 2002? We went back for his service, and we can tell but I was in Washington State at the time, and we went back for the service. And when we were there, a very nice condolence card came in small letter from the girlfriend I had at the time I bought the car.
Okay.
And it was nice. I wrote her back and told her about my life and my wife and what we were doing. Several weeks later, another letter came from her, and enclosed was the original copy of a speeding ticket.
It was an ex-girlfriend's ticket?
Apparently, I let her drive it when the car was brand new early in June.
Oh, boy.
And she got a speeding ticket. That's the only ticket that I know of that the car has ever had.
That's one of the best kept secrets. About, 50 years she kept that secret?
30
years?
She held on to that ticket for a long time.
Just waiting for an opportunity to give it back to you. Clear a conscience, so to speak. And
the only other trouble I had was things didn't work out with her when I was going in the Air Force. It was different, and another friend introduced me to a lovely girl, and anyways, I went down to pick her up because we were going someplace, and I'm not going to tell you her name. And we got in the car from her house and started driving down by the McDonald's in Worcester, Massachusetts, and she pulled out a cigarette. And, oh no, I wasn't too excited about that, and used the cigarette lighter. It's probably the only one single time it's ever been used. and there was no place to put the ashes because the ashtray was full of buffalo nickels that I collected as when I was working. And so she was flicking the ashes outside of the window, and then she flicked the cigarette butt out. Well, it was summertime. The windows were all open.
Uh-oh.
I saw that thing come in the back window. The dimple is still in the seat.
No.
She climbed down off to the dashboard after I stopped, and got that cigarette out of there. And I saw that burn in the seat mark, and I turned around and took her home.
I'm surprised you took her home and didn't just open the door and say, "Here you go."
No, I was hopefully a little more gentleman.
A little bit more of a gentleman than that.
But I can show you the dimple in the seat still.
I'd love to see it.
Those are my trouble stories. I guess they're not very bad. I know I never abused the car. It's never been hot rodded, you say.
So. Well, it definitely doesn't show its age, that's for sure.
Thank you.
It's beautiful, beautiful car. Any fond memories you'd like to share or anything?
Well, just keeping it. I joined the Air Force in 1967, a little more than a year after. Bought the car because of Vietnam, and either you get drafted and go in the Army and go to Vietnam, or you go in the Air Force and have a little better chance. Did that, went to basic training, then to Biloxi, Mississippi for school. And as soon as I was able to have it, my parents towed the car down to me in Mississippi behind their 64 Chrysler. So I've had it ever since then. My brother had custody of it while I was in basic for the 6 weeks, so I don't really know what happened to it then, other than it came back with a scrape and a ding on the back.
No speeding tickets and cards from your brother at all received?
No, he never admitted to one if he ever got one. And then I've had the car with me ever since then, except for the school when I went back to school for a bit of time. I was transferred to was in Biloxi and a technical school, and then in the summer of '68, 2 weeks of leave in Massachusetts, and then my brother and I drove the car to Othello, Washington, which is a radar station in the very central part of Washington State. And that's how I got to Washington, where I still am today.
Wonderful.
So the car just stayed with me, and that. The only other story I have about Othello is in the middle of the winter in '68, '69. I was driving down Main Street in Othello, and it's icy and cold and wet, and a woman pulled out in front of me from a stop sign, and I was not quite able to stop, and I hit her right in the driver's door.
Ouch.
But it didn't do too much damage because I was pretty well stopped, and it bent the front bumper and the nose piece, and we were able to fix that and put a new bumper on it. That's the only replacement parts on the car.
Beautiful,
ever.
Beautiful, pristine vehicle.
But I did not want to drive it in the winter after that. So I went out and bought an old '56 Chevy pickup. And so the car has basically, since really '70 or so, not been driven regularly as a driver. Driven a lot, but not as a driver. I drove that old '56 Chevy pickup, which I still have today. In fact, it's all restored, and it's a garage mate to this.
I love it. I love it. That's wonderful. Jim, if we were to travel back in time and you were to order this car again, would you order it the exact same way you did, or would you make any changes?
I wouldn't make any changes at all. I mean, it's a pretty plain car. It doesn't have power steering, doesn't have power brakes, doesn't have
tough car to drive.
Yeah, no, it's not at all. Not for me, anyways. But no, I like it. It's just the way it is. It's my car and all that. When I got out of the Air Force in 1971, I stayed there and I worked at a John Deere dealership for a while, and then I was a service manager for a Chevrolet dealership for a couple of years. But then I decided I wanted to go back to school, and I took the car, got accepted at a school in Massachusetts, MIT, and I put the car behind the '56 Chevrolet pickup. I built a tow bar, bolted it onto the car, and drove back.
It was
to,
coming with you.
Drove it back to Massachusetts, and I did a couple of months of school, a month, 6 weeks of school there, because I had to do some transferring of credits and all that to get my credits applied to the school I was going to go to. But things just didn't add up in Massachusetts for me anymore. I just didn't feel comfortable. By that time, I was wearing boots and a hat and different things like that. So, in 1975, I parked the car in my sister's garage there in Massachusetts, got in my little pickup, and drove back to Washington State, and went to college in Central Washington University. There, as I was originally in pre-law, but then I discovered I really didn't want to be a lawyer, and and so I also became a police officer in the town because and several years, a year or so later, I had the money to go back and bring the car back with me.
Wonderful. Thank you for your service as a police officer and for your military service as well.
Yeah. So I drove back to Massachusetts in the '56 Chevy pickup, hooked the GTO, and I told you a little story there about Chicago and went through Chicago, where you're from,
Yes.
and back to Massachusetts, and hooked on that tow bar and brought it back to Massachusetts, brought it back to Washington State. The only thing that happened to the car while I was in Massachusetts is my sister covered it with a canvas tarp in her garage, and it blistered the paint on the roof and on the hood. And the paint wasn't in, it's lacquer paint. It wasn't in that great a condition anyways, but it ruined it. So when I got it back, we were able to make some repairs on it, but it wasn't really great. But I stayed in Ellensburg as a police officer. I met my wife there in the front seat of a patrol car. She was going to be a police officer too. So
I wasn't sure if she was in trouble or what was going on there.
She was in a lot of trouble.
She was in more trouble than she realized.
Or I was in a lot of trouble then. And so 6 months later, we were married, and we went on, and I ended up eventually becoming the chief investigator for the medical board and moving to Olympia, Washington, where we are now. And the car moved from one place to another.
There seems to be a common theme here. Where you go, the car goes.
Car goes, yes. And then one other little story. If you're looking back here and look in the trunk, you see a tri-power sitting there. Back in probably 1968, the fall of '68 or something, I was driving around, looking around the area, and drove by a wrecking yard, and there was a wrecked '66 GTO out in front of this wrecking yard.
That's hard to see.
Stopped to look at it, and I walked into the office there in Moses Lake, where the wrecking yard is no longer there, but I go by that little office a lot, and I look at the office, and I say, I remember walking in there, and the tri-power was sitting on the counter, $75, and it was mine.
Sold.
So installed it on the car shortly after that, and it remained on the car until 2016 GTOAA, when I joined GTOAA, and the Bellevue show was coming up, so I decided to go back to the original original 4-barrel, the way the car was built.
Yeah.
And all that. So the car is pretty original. I painted it. This is my own paint in my garage in about 1990. 30 years, 90. When were you born? 1988. So it was about 7 years after that. There's a little picture right here of my daughter where we pulled it out of there. She's beside the car. Sanded it all down and figured out how to paint it myself, and did that in my garage. This is my paint, and that's
beautiful.
Done 30 years ago. But I haven't done much with the car all of those years plus, because my wife is a horse person and my daughter's a horse person, and that kind of took over our lives for many years.
A different kind of horses than ones that live under the hood.
Yeah. Which is, it was a good time. It was a good time with doing all of that. High school equestrian, rodeo, and all of those things. She was a rodeo princess on a rodeo court, traveling all over. But in 2016, when I read about GTOAA coming to Bellevue, I joined the local Legends Club and put the 4-barrel back on the car, cleaned it up, started right up, and went to the Nationals. So we've been going to the Nationals ever since,
It's
as
wonderful.
often as we can.
I love it.
To see all these beautiful cars here and talk. It's kind of fun sharing the story with. Yeah,
I do appreciate you sharing the story
yeah,
very
yeah,
much. Thank
yeah.
you.
The only other thing that's happened to the car is when I was in Othello as a police officer, I helped a friend with his race car, NASCAR race car, and got to know the engine builder. I got a fellow named Jim Sosi, I think was his name, out of Republic, Washington. And he talked to me, convinced me we should do the motor in that GTO. Although it ran good, there was nothing wrong with it. So okay, and pulled it out. He completely blueprinted and balanced and did everything to it like you would a full race motor. Yeah, it is so sweet. It runs so good.
Such a smooth ride.
That's a long time ago, but it did come back with a chrome oil pan and a chrome valley cover and some other chrome pieces on it that I didn't expect, but and they're still on it now. So it does have a rebuilt motor with a XS cam in it and that. But it's other than that, the car is pretty original except for the headliner, the carpet, and the paint. Never been in an accident. Never been, abused.
Well, it shows that it's been cared for very well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Wondering, Jim, here, 60 years with the car, where do you think the car's going to be in 50 years?
Right there.
Right there. He's pointing to his daughter. And she's got quite a smile on her face, as I would too.
Would you like to get in the video?
I think you have a very eager taker there.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Carry on the legacy.
Yeah, we have a nice garage and shop and everything where we live, where the car is kept. It's trailered wherever it goes. But eventually, I'm in my 80th year now, it's going to have to go somewhere, and I'm glad somebody is there to take it. And the trucks and the tractors. I don't know about the boats, but
you ready for all that?
But yeah, my hope is truly that someday I'm sure it'll go to her.
With that smile, I think that's where it's going.
Yeah.
Well, Jim,
So
thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you sharing the story with us. Thank you, sir.
Garage door shuts, engines rest. Next episode, man, it'll be the best.